So, welcome to Productivity for Entrepreneurs or Solopreneurs, where each Wednesday at 1 p.m. I share insights to getting things done. Welcome. And today is live number 129, and the topic is Are you as organized as you think you are? So, if you are watching this live, say hi in the comments. If you're watching the recording, say hello in the comments or click like or something just so that I know that you are here. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Evie Burke, and I help women entrepreneurs take their productivity and their profits to a new level. They are ready to end the distraction in their business and just have the business that they envisioned when they started their business. However, instead of that business that they envisioned, they find themselves overwhelmed, exhausted, and there just doesn't seem to be enough hours in the day to get everything they want to get done, and they really aren't interested in putting in regular 9 to 12-hour days. So instead, they want to get the things done they need to get done in the time that they have or they want to use to get that stuff done. And they also want to be fully present, both in their business and the things that they're doing in their business and with the people and the things that they're doing outside of their business. So I help these entrepreneurs create impactful solutions that focus on getting their high priority items done so they can grow their business with confidence. So, as I said, today's topic is Are you as organized as you think you are? And it came from a conversation that I was having with someone who set up a time to chat with me. And she's like, I'm already pretty organized. And the truth of the matter was, she has a lot going on and she is very organized. She keeps lots of balls moving, lots of plates spinning all at the same time. But it's something that I actually hear, maybe not exactly in those words, but isn't uncommon for me to hear, because a lot of times when I'll say to somebody or I'll ask, are you keeping track of the things you need to do in a way that works for you, or are you good with how you're keeping track of things? They'll say, oh yeah, I have a handle on that. That's fine. And if I dig a little deeper, I find out that it's fine because they didn't know that they could be maybe working with it a little bit different, or a way that might streamline things a little bit more. So one example of this is I will ask, well, how are you keeping track of the things you want to do every day? And they'll say, okay, yeah, I have this list of paper, this list that I create. Sometimes it's the day before, sometimes it's not, but I try to create a list. Or they'll tell me, I know what I need to do, it's all in my head. And that's great, but sometimes you need to have it written down. And when they do have it written down, it's whatever piece of paper they could find. And so then they're not sure maybe what didn't get done a couple of days ago that they should be working on, and it'll pop into their head and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's right, I need to do that. Or they will forget something that they had committed to maybe last week or the week before, because they are creating a daily list, but they don't really have a good picture of all of the things that need to be done. And I know in particular one person I was talking with, when we started like mapping out those things that needed to be done for some of those bigger projects to make sure that she was hitting the milestones that she needed to, she's like, oh my goodness, there is so much to do. How am I going to get all of this done? And I said to her, I said, well, you always get it done though, right? You've said you get these things done, without this list, right? She's like, well, yeah, I always get get everything done that I need to get done. I said, so why wouldn't you get it done when it's all in a list, but you do get it done when it's all just in your head? And she went, oh, yeah, that's right. I That makes complete sense. So generally when I'm working with somebody who needs some help around planning out their goals and creating those lists that make sense for them, is I have them create 3 lists. And they're not 3 separate lists, they're 3 lists that all play together, okay? So You might have seen me pull it out before. For a long time, all of my lists lived here in this notebook. Um, there's still an old version of my notebooks of my lists in there. And what I would keep in there is that was where I would keep all of my goals. Like, these are the goals for the quarter. These are the projects and the things that I want to do to meet those goals. And here are the things then for this month that I need to or want to get done so I am on track to meet those goals for the quarter. And then once a week, usually on Saturday or Sunday, but not all of the time, I would go through that list and that list of everything that needs to get done this month. And I would say, okay, what are the things that need to get done this week for me to be on track for this month? All right. And then once I had that list completed for the week, there was a period of time where I was working from the weekly list, but I would get so overwhelmed with all of the things that needed to get done in the week that I found it was really helpful. And I just use it's a notebook that's about half the size of a full sheet of paper, and I write out my list for the day in my notebook. And there's a lot of different ways you can organize that, or you can decide how things get listed out on there. And we're not going to go into that today. But I would make my list on there that I was just like, okay, for these things that need to happen over the course of this week, what am I committing to completing for today? And they were individual tasks. If I was writing a blog post, the task wasn't just write the blog post. Okay, it was think of a topic, draft the blog post, create a headline, create an image that goes with the post. Like, all of the steps would be broken down so I could say, okay, where am I in this process? And I would know exactly where I was, and I would write it down so that if I had a really, really long list to do that day, I would know, okay, maybe some of those things need to be moved to the next day, especially depending on what my how many clients I was meeting with that day, or other meetings I had, right? So creating those three lists that build off each other can be so important. And keeping in your head the things that need to be done is where we all start, okay? Because we all start somewhere. And sometimes when I'm meeting with somebody and they're like, well, just tell me how you organize your things and get your things done. And sometimes I tell them, this is how I have it structured, like this is exactly what I do. But it always comes with this caveat. The way that I track my what needs to be done for myself right now is not what I did even a year ago. And what I did a year ago is not what I did 2 years before that. My system has evolved based on my habits and my systems and the tweaks and the improvements that I've made to what worked for me. And so the things that I'm doing right now that work really well for me probably will not work right out of the gate for you, because you don't have those processes and those systems and those things already in place to make them work. However, I know I can help you with creating that framework and building those habits and systems for you in a way that works for you. So like I said, I started out with that and I'm pointing to that notebook on paper because that's what I needed to do. And then I was noticing, okay, this is what works and this is what doesn't work, so I would tweak it. And then I moved to using OneNote for tracking the overall goals and the monthly stuff. Because that's what worked for me. And then even the system I use today in OneNote, I think it's gone through at least 3 major revisions since I started using it. And it was just all about what worked for me and tweaking things so that it worked better. But what they all have in common is those 3 overall tracking lists, right? Here's what has to happen this quarter, here's the goals for the quarter, here's the goals for the month, and here's what needs to happen this week. And if any of you want to sit down with me and chat about what that looks like for you, or get a little bit more information about that, I would love to sit with you and help you out with that. The easiest way to get that set up is to reach out to me on my contact page on my website, and I will include a link in the description, and I'll actually pop it in the comments here now. Here we go. So head over there and you can fill in the contact me page and we will get something set up, okay? So let me know what questions you have. If you have anything that works super well for you in your planning, I would love to hear about it and maybe get some ideas for myself, or for the people that I work with. And if you have any questions or any frustrations, let me, if you want to share those in the comments, I would love to know those too. So until next week, much love.